Let's build a clay farm, shall we? This is what our farm looks like before we add any walls around it. The main part being at the top with block dispensers, placing smooth stone, a redstone pulse provided by a turntable, pistons, pushing the stone all the way up to the max limit of 12 blocks, and then more piston pushing all of that structure down to just above the water. We make use of a new mechanic introduced in Bears and Wolves regarding silverfish when they are in the end and they infest stone blocks. Once inside a stone block, they will slowly multiply and break down the block. The process has multiple stages, and when it's completed, they will either infest an adjacent stone block or they will fall down. We make a big pool of water to collect both the clay blocks, the clay balls, and the gravel, and to get the silverfish to go towards us so we can kill them. And at the bottom we have hoppers to collect the loot and the XP. To build such a farm, you're going to want to go in the end, obviously, bridge away from the main island and build a platform of the size you want. You want to bring in all of these blocks, 48 pistons, 4 block dispensers, a lot of stone and wood, gearbox and axles, redstone torches, and a repeater, a water wheel, a turntable, some glass, so 2 hoppers, soul sand, some chests, and those are optional, a vessel of the dragon and a beacon. You want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks above the platform, the 6th block being the bottom of our pool, and this place is 9 blocks wide and 8 blocks long with the same thing, just 1 block lower. Remember that when you are in the end, you can place water sources from a bucket. And the total here is 9 block by 16 block long, with 1 extra block at one end where the saw is gonna be. We want to go 3 blocks away from the back and 2 blocks away from the side, just 1 block above the water. And then we place exactly 13 blocks of stone going all the way up. Then we want to go 11 blocks away. That's a total of 2 by 11, and this is where we place our pistons. When we are placing the piston, I'm holding control down. This way the pistons are facing away from me. We then want to go 2 blocks away from the back with pistons this way. The block dispenser facing down, so again pressing control to make them face down. We have 2 bits of redstone on top of the dispenser, and the pistons are powered to the side. We use wood to make sure that the endermen are not spawning on any other block, because they are a pain in the ass to deal with. And to bridge above the piston, we just have 2 blocks like that. We also want to cover the pistons to make sure that endermen are spawning on top of them, because they can. And same thing over here above the stone, above the dispenser, and the piston here. You would have the same thing here, basically just 1 block apart. I'm not going to build it because it's exactly the same thing, but you would have your redstone going above, and then another line here. We place the repeater here on the 4th setting, connected to the same thing as the dispensers. And then we want to consider the mechanical power. So I have this small pool of water already built, as well as a line of gearboxes and axles going all the way up to where the saw is gonna be. The saw is just aligned with the wall over here, and we'll see for the hopper later. Place the water wheel and the turntable. You can, if you want, build the turntable at the bottom and just bring the redstone signal. If you want, that's up to you. We place some blocks to bring the redstone here, a redstone torch, on the turntable. For now, I'm going to leave it on the first setting with a redstone dust going directly into it, which means that the turntable is only going to do a half rotation. If I remove the redstone dust here, it's going to do a full rotation. But initially, we want this to go as fast as possible to place all of the stone. Once the farm is running, you can put it on the third or fourth setting, that's up to you. Once this is placed, we want to go at the bottom to place the last bit of water that we need. Over here, that's bringing the silverfish and the loot towards the sow, and then we have an extra bit of water at the end. We have a hopper, the optional vessel of the dragon. So the hopper here is on the 5th block. This means that the water is going to be here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's on the 5th block. And then we have an extra hopper here for the XP if we want, with the vessel of the dragon under. The soul sand in the hopper slot. Then we just need to power them with our gearbox and axles. This. And now we can place the water. And that's the most important part of our farm build. You can then make sure that the silverfish can't escape by blocking off the sides, like this, and then building up walls. You're going to want to have walls all around the farm, because as you can see, sometimes, that's just a perfect example, the items will fly away to the side, so you want to make sure you don't lose anything, and the loot is gonna fall in the water with a wall. I like to use glass, but you can use any block you want. And then comes the most difficult part, which is bringing in some initial silverfish to start the process. So let's imagine that this is going all the way back to the main island. There is an obsidian platform, which is where you spawn when you go into the end for the first time. What you're going to want to do is to stay near the spawner in the stronghold that is creating silverfish, bring them into the end, wall the obsidian platform off, then you jump into the end with them. You place a ladder on the wall so that you can escape the place quickly. Make sure you have potions and good armor so you don't die. And then let's say that we are survival. We just slowly lure the silverfish. You want to walk on top of the roof to be safe, and you have a one wide platform for them to walk, surrounded by fences. They are pretty small, so you need blocks under the fence so that they don't fall, and you slowly bring them here. Then, to be extra careful, what I would do is lock them here and add some stone block at the bottom so that they are going to infest a few of the stone here to keep a few extra as backup. I built a small stair here with a backing so that I don't fall into the void. You just slowly walk all the way to the top. Let's go back on creative because you got the idea. And once they are at the top, they are going to be happy to walk into the stone and infest it. You also want to do the same thing to the other side. I'm not going to show you the process, it's exactly the same thing, just always make sure that you are out of reach from them and make sure you don't die. There is another option, which is to use an ender block beacon. When it is built in the end, it has two effects. One that we really want, which is to increase silverfish activity, meaning that they will multiply faster inside the blocks. The other effect is that sometimes, it's very slow though, but sometimes a silverfish is going to spawn on top of the beacon. and then you can use that as your initial silverfish, but since it's very slow, I would strongly advise you do the other way to do it. And again, always make sure that you place wood blocks on top of everything to prevent enderman spawn, and that includes the repeater, because as weird as it may seem, that's a valid block for an enderman to spawn. And once you have done everything, that should be your farm getting ready to go, and you just have to stay a little bit here and wait for the farm to produce. Have fun!